Salutations! Welcome, friend, to another episode of RWBY Review. Last but not least, we have the trailer that introduced everyone's favorite sunny little dragon, the yellow trailer. Yang Xiaolong is probably my second favorite team member of Team RWBY, so let's see how her introductory trailer brought her to the world's attention. We're greeted by the third of three original Monty quotes, and it has me wondering if the reason the first one, the red trailer, didn't have one was because they wanted to catch the viewer's interest with the scenery and music before the viewer clicked away. After all, they signed up for watching, not reading. I do like the inclusion of the quotes because they feel like character studies for these as of yet unknown entities the trailers introduced us to, and this one is the most interesting in hindsight. We now know in the final act of Volume 3, Yang had her right arm cut off by Adam. I couldn't begin to tell you what all of this quote means, but I'm particularly drawn to the part about being asked to be symmetrical. After Yang's dismemberment, she's no longer symmetrical. RWBY says they've planned Yang's dismemberment from the very beginning, and given this quote and its emphasis and callback in Volume 5 song Ignite, specifically this part here, I do believe that Yang's right arm getting cut off was in the cards from before the series started. Glad to have the disability rep too, especially with the protagonist and main character of our story. For the rest of the quote, I'd hazard to guess that one's true beauty, asymmetrical or otherwise, far eclipses what other thinks of them or the standards they're being held to. You don't have to be symmetrical or perfect to be beautiful. There's an odd beauty to being broken or uneven, to not being whole, misshapen, even if that beauty isn't readily visible or solely internal. The first time we see Yang, she's on a motorcycle, Bumblebee. The city used to look so much more colorful, especially prior to Volume 2, when they toned down the city's color palette, a move I personally consider to be a huge mistake, especially in a show about color. It's really noticeable if you go back and watch Volume 1 and then Volume 2 immediately after. What's the deal with that bird? Is it a raven? Crow? Or is a raven or crow? We've seen a bird, I don't know if it's the same bird, but we've seen a bird in 3 of the 4 trailers. Once in RWBY's, once in Blake's, and once in Yang's. Maybe we've seen one in Weiss's trailer and I just didn't notice. Is a raven keeping an eye on her daughter? Not that we know who Raven is yet, or her relation to Yang. Hell, we don't even know anything about Yang at this point, aside from the fact she likes motorcycles. Not a fan of the upskirt shot, but RWBY has been really good about not pandering to that sort of thing, at least until Volume 8 when we got an upskirt shot of Penny, which I hope is the last in the series' entire run. I really like how the hair flows, it's so hypnotic and looks great, if unnatural. I really adore the music, and love that not only is there a new theme song for Yang, the appropriately titled I Burn, and the fact that everybody gets their own theme song, but there's also remixes of other songs, and it plays in the club mix playlist. I adore that. Thank you for having those permutations of those songs, they're fantastic. I'm a big fan of the silhouette parts to reveal the true figure trope, and that was beautifully executed here. Our first real look at Yang, her brilliant blonde hair is stunning, the orange highlights her yellow, and they even managed to make a brown outfit look great on her, and her eyes are markedly purple. She's got memorable character design and it shows. Okay, I know a lot of people don't like the shadow people, but I find them adorable and part of the show's history, and just find them fun and cool in general. I like them. It shows how far RWBY's come in terms of animation, plus it gives a larger focal point on Yang, as she's the one in soul color. So we don't know who that is yet, but it's Roman Tortrick chatting with Hei Zhong, probably said that wrong, aka Junior, who either manages or owns the club they're in. Tortrick is hands down one of my favorite characters and definitely one of my top antagonists, but at this point he's just some background guy whom we have no idea about and presumably will come to be relevant in due time. One would have assumed it would be within the same trailer he's being introduced in, but we don't see him again until the first actual episode of the series. I like that. He hasn't been forgotten about as one would have thought at the time of this trailer's premiere, but he was merely given a cameo in the yellow trailer, appeared proper in the first episode of Ruby Rose, and his exploits here in the yellow trailer were followed up in the Volume 2 Chapter 4 episode called Painting the Town. Not particularly sure why it took that long to get to, but I think it was worth the wait. Better to have late exposition and backstory than none at all. Also, we see Melanie? Why did I say Melanie? Also, we see Melanie and Milchades Malachite with Junior, and I really love Melanie. She turned out to be a kick-based fighter, and I love that in characters like Tsunade from Naruto, although she's also very punchy too, and Boa Hancock from One Piece. I've always had an affinity for characters whose fighting style is dependent upon their legs and their kicks, and Mercury Black from this very own series RWBY certainly fits the bill. I also love that when there's a rivalry between the punching archetype and the kicking archetype characters, like Yang and Mercury, which could have been expounded upon and done better, but what we got wasn't exactly bad either. Some parts were good, just not the Volume 5 parts. Going back to Melanie, she has a better design in my opinion, and the blades attached to her heels is quite unique and fun, and definitely serves to make her a dangerous femme fatale type of character. Milch's claws don't strike me as strongly, but they're cute, I guess. Look at Yang attempting to be more mature than her age. It's adorable. Barber does the best voice acting in the beginning out of the 4 girls, I think. Not that Lindsay and Kara really had an opportunity in the trailers to voice their characters. Now here's my problem with this. Junior, despite being fine at a very tall 6'11", is a creep. He points out how young Yang is and still hits on her. The scene is made even more awkward by the fact that Yang sexually assaults Junior in what is very clearly meant to be an empowering moment for her. But it's like, this is just bad for everyone involved. Yikes. Of course, it's made even worse when Yang teases Junior with a kiss, which the grown man actually tries to take her up on, despite being aware she's very likely a minor. There's a whole lot of issues to be addressed here, and I don't know what RWBY was thinking when they scripted this scene. Now we know Yang's looking for a woman. It's not until Volume 2 we know who or why. It does have her invested in her journey though. I wish they'd have established the why at least, even if not the who, since I feel the Volume 2 reveal that it's her mother Raven Bronwyn she's looking for after she abandoned Yang after her birth was very poignant and revealed at the perfect moment when it would be its most impactful for the audience and for Blake. But still, it wouldn't hurt to lay some more groundwork beyond the basic who and why questions. If we knew why she wanted to find this woman, we would have a chance to learn about Yang in the process. I suppose answers did come in due time though. Really glad they didn't go through with the kiss, and I don't like Junior because of it. That's gross and wrong, dude. You should know better, especially when you yourself pointed out her age. There we have it. Perhaps my second favorite weapon in the show, right after Weiss's Mertenaster, Yang's Ember Silica, whose name is badass and whose form is fucking awesome, like dual-range shotgun gauntlets. Shotguns mounted on her fucking wrist that she can shoot by punching. They shoot fire dust just fine, but if only she would upgrade them to shoot out other types of dust. Could you imagine if Yang started shooting out lightning from her fucking hands? Though I guess it'd be a bit of a danger when you wear them on you, but then again, people weave dust into their clothing, so fuck it. I want Yang to have different elemental dust rounds in her Ember Silica weapons, and I want it now. Love the song climaxing while she's at the zenith of her jump. Also, nice little theme of her jumping high into the sky with the moon as your backdrop, but given that they're inside a club, the simulated moon in question is presumably just a giant light. Four moon or moon-esque backdrop poses. Bingo! Also, why are there dead trees inside? You ever just punch something so hard it ripples and changes color? God, I love watching Yang fight. It's so cathartic to see her beat the shit out of people. It's cheaper than therapy, I can tell you that. Using the recoil to throw herself around the battlefield just like RWBY does with Crescent Rose is so fucking cool, I love it. God, Monty really had a way with choreography, didn't he? Shane as well. Much love to you, bro. Okay, it's hilarious that a giant dead mouse eluding teddy bear head wearing DJ is pulling out a semi-automatic machine gun. But what I really love here is Yang's boxing style as she dodges in and out and weaves through the area like she can just fucking dodge bullets. How absurd is that? I love it. My friend, whom I forced to watch RWBY for me, said that he recognizes the Hajime no Ippo reference in her boxing ducking and weaving, and I'm liable to believe it, since it seems like the kind of anime and reference / homage that Monty would incorporate into his own work. Look at her launching herself into the air. You'll love to see that. The poor guy has never really stood a chance, and seeing Yang yeet him into the distance with Ember Silica's shotgun and blast is hilarious. Yang has such a playful style to her combat, it's fun to watch. At least it used to be. She's nowhere near as playful nowadays, and doesn't take the time to humiliate her opponents the way she used to, and I kinda miss that about her. Ah yes, the Malachite sisters. A punchy kicky sibling duo. I like that. One specializes in combat with punches, the other with kicks. It's interesting to note that Milsha, the one who has a fight-based fighting style, is absolutely outmatched, outclassed, and overwhelmed by Yang, who also has a fist-based fighting style. But Melanie, who has a leg-based fighting style, is able to keep up with Yang and give her a run for her money and a lot of trouble before ultimately being taken to task. RWBY has gone on record as saying Yang has trouble with kick-based counters to her fist-based style, which I would have believed when she started out in RWBY, as evident in the yellow trailer. I've always really loved and adored the scene of Melanie flipping onto the scene while simultaneously deflecting a bullet from Yang with her bladed heel. I flipped my shit the first time I saw it, and I still do to this day. It's such a sick move and speaks of her eloquence and skill, and I love it. Milsha really got her shit rocked. It was painful to see. It's clear Yang is in a class of her own when it comes to fist-based opponents. I find it interesting that Yang's legwork was the focus of her little tete-a-tete with Melanie here. Melanie is clearly the stronger Malachite sibling, or at least a more competent one when against an opponent like Yang. I want to argue that Yang has it easier in combat than Melanie, or at least has an advantageous combat style compared to Melanie, because legs are what we support ourselves with. In order to stand, we need to use our legs. To use a kick-based fighting style is to inherently fight at a disadvantage because you can only do so much supporting your weight, while also taking away some of that ability in order to focus on attacking your enemy. Yang doesn't have that problem because she is fighting with her fists while her legs support her just the same. Melanie must be incredibly precise and strategic about how and when she lifts her legs to strike, and not that Yang isn't either, but Yang's balance and momentum won't be affected, or as affected, by her fighting style as Melanie's is by hers. Yang just inherently has an advantage over Melanie in combat because of it. It's not like Melanie can use both her legs to fight Yang at the same time, at least for extended periods of time, without sacrificing her balance and reaction time. Yang ultimately winning this fight wasn't surprising, but what was impressive is that Melanie gave her such a run for her money. Looks like it's lights up for Melanie and the club. Ouch, that had to have hurt. It's a nice visual touch to reinforce and ram home just how brutal a kick Yang delivered to Melanie was. Also, the irony and the utter blatant disrespect of defeating, besting, and knocking out a kick-based opponent with a kick to the face. I suppose you could say, that's the kicker? I'll see myself out now. Melanie just limping off stage makes me laugh every fucking time. Let's talk about this and how little it makes sense.
You're gonna pay for this.
You're gonna pay for that. Junior, you are blowing up your own club with missiles and inflicting even more damage while she does more damage to try and stop you. She's not gonna pay for you. You are. Quite literally. Stop being stupid. I like that Yang just explodes the missiles out of existence though, that was very nice. Junior is giving her the most trouble and he's making it look relatively easy. She actually had to activate her summons to fight him, so I'd say it stands to reason that Junior is actually a relatively powerful combatant, even if he's stupid as shit. There's that ducking and weaving boxing Hajime no Ippo shit again. I just love seeing her doing it. Her eyes turned red, what's that about? We find out in the series proper. Kind of, maybe, fuck, I don't know, I'm not really sure. Excellent use of slow-mo though. I burn fucking slaps. When I first listened to it years ago, I'd do my art homework at the kitchen table while playing it on repeat. I love the song so much. Oh, he fucked up, ripping out her hair accidentally. Rip in pieces, Junior. This was visually stunning. Explode in anger and get engulfed in flames, baby. It's a good look on me. Here we get so angry that everything just turns black and white. So this is the first time we hear RWBY speak. I love the reveal that the trailers were all actually connected. I mean, I guess that was obvious from when the show was called RWBY, and we see all 4 girls on a poster together, but I just like the in-universe confirmation that these characters know each other, and RWBY and Yang were the first to meet. The confirmation that Yang and RWBY are sisters is also nice. It ties their bonds together, develops their characters some more, and it makes them more interesting than if it had just been 4 random girls. At least 2 are related and have a deep connection to each other. That's nifty. RWBY's voice wasn't the best in the beginning, but by golly, this was leaps and bounds and leagues and crowns better than whatever the fuck was happening in volumes 4 and 5. And so that concludes the RWBY reviews for the 4 trailers. Red, white, black, and yellow. We've met our 4 protagonists, Ruby Rose, Wai Shnee, Blake Belladonna, and Yang Xiaolong, and this is the beginning of a beautiful series with excellent awesomeness. I hope this was a fun little way to pass the time during the RWBY Volume 8 mid-volume hiatus, and hopefully I'll get more episodes from Volumes 1 to 7 done when I can. What did you think about the trailers? Did you have a favorite trailer, a song, semblance, weapon, character? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you like what you heard, flip me the bird if you would prefer. I'll see you all soonsies. Until then, take care, friends.